It's a really cool hand. Yeah, I agree. That is a great way to phrase that, David. I may even like put that in an article. The point of tutors is to provide redundancy instead of bullets. Ah. Urza Saga package. Urza Saga would not be good here. Urza Saga is only good if you're tutoring up busted artifacts, have a ton of artifacts. They're not just like playing Urza Saga in a mono black deck as a way to cast Courser's Accord, get 2/3/3s for 6 mana is not a good strategy. Is it a strategy though? Perhaps. Thoughts on Murktide in the meta? Murktide, like in most metas, is fine. We're currently 2-0 against it. Yeah, Orvar is uncastable, but you don't want to cast it. You want to discard it to your opponent's Archon, and what's cool is you get to tutor that one. It's Blue Moon, baby, I think. I assume. Blue Moon? I assume. Blue Moon, I presume. I'm thinking 2 possible counterspell mana. I'm just going to cast a Bloodcast. Jund Saga. That's the other way is if you're playing Ren and 6 and you can recur Urza Saga. That's like the third playable way to play a an Urza Saga deck. That is an exception. Good old Snapcaster Mage. Both of us were just playing our 2 mana 2/1s. Black Mark Rosewater wants us to. Alright, they're icing. I'm writing. I'm rhyming. My beats are not maybe as good as Andrea's were. When we did the channel point redemption and Andrea started rapping, that was like the best moment in stream's history. Okay, we missed on our lands for 3 looks, so probably find one on the next 2. Damn it. Somehow I knew we were gonna Brickaroo. That's okay though. Between Dredge, Shadow, Reanimator. I wouldn't recommend Dredge at the moment with the prevalence of Blood Moon. I would probably recommend Dredge, but Shadow's also maybe like sneaky pick. Oh, the VTubing shark. Nah, that was a good time. We've had some good moments on the stream, huh? We've had some good times. Well, we've had some times for sure. I think I'm not that interested in just playing into the counterspell with the Unmarked Grave. Very happy that that was what got the counterspell. So he gets to draw 2 again. Draw 2, draw 2, draw 2. Would love to find a Grief with all of these Undying effects. we may see that we're playing too many of the Undying effects. Although what's kind of fun about that is it opens up the deck a little bit. I still think you want some, like 5 or 6, but we're playing 7 right now, which is kind of high. Guess I can Diabolic Intent perhaps for a Grief. Alright, so let's attack with the Bloodghast, Diabolic Intent, get it countered, and then Bone Shards, discard Archon on Snapcaster. Okay. Grief. And then I think I'm still just going to Bone Shards this turn. This way I don't like Grief their counterspell this turn, and then they just draw another one. Stomp like a true Blue Moon hero. I love the cast Bone Crusher here. Love that. Basic Mountain, baby. Alright, let's pitch the Unmarked Grave, I think. I've not done it. We've cast 3 Village Rites and I've not drawn that many lands. You could go up a land, maybe, if we end up going down on the other effects. Alright, they can't cast the Archmage's Charm because they're a basic mountain enjoyer. That is not going to stop me from taking the Archmage's Charm anyways. Oh, they have the stomp. Okay, that's fine still. I don't know how I missed that. Okay. Land. No, another persistence too bad. Obviously, like if they bounce into the hand, we need a target for bone shards to persist again. We have 2 bloodcasts of the yard. I would love to haste. The idea that tutors are there to add redundancy is why I like the intent in Rakdos Pioneer. I started replacing 2 rights with it. Yeah, I think that makes some sense. I haven't played like much sacrifice lately in Pioneer, so I have a hard time like commenting a ton on it. I know that Doomwake played yesterday, thought he should play no more than 2 or 3. I do think intent is like likely to find a home there. You know, this is something that this is a trap I've fallen into like several times on the stream, and something I should probably try to be better at. But it's like very easy when you're streaming to like run badly with a deck a few times, and you just want to switch because it just feels so miserable to like have an entire stream of just like, you know, running bad and things going poorly. But like the reality is that like you should probably, like, when it comes to something like intent in Rakdos, Sack, and Pioneer, you should probably keep testing that because it has a lot of potential. You know what I mean? So I imagine that they're going to heat this. Okay, then we go Grief, pitch Bone Shards. Is intent that much better than tutor? I don't know. That'd be $5 a month for the rest of your life. It's a much better top deck is kind of the big thing. It's like a lot of times in this deck you have like Bloodghast in play, right? Bloodghast in your yard, and like intent is like an insane top deck where Profane Tutor is like better on turn 2 usually. Profane Tutor is going to be better on turn 2 almost all the time, but it is not going to be nearly as good of a top deck. Why not try to Feign Death there? I didn't have mana available for Feign Death, did I? I was tapped out when they heated. I thought so. If I had the mana, I should have cast it. Oh no, they did it on my comment, didn't they? And we also just have the persist, right? But yeah, maybe we should just Feign Death. Although, like, I wanted to go Feign Death Grief, you know. Gets like specifically blown out by the 1, dressed down. Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, be a post-combat Grief, Feign Death, Persist, Archon seems better to me. And, like, that's worse against specifically Dressed Down, which is hard to play around game 1. I can't believe we've only drawn 3 lands. We've drawn so many cards this game. But, like, a land at any point is just game over with these 2 Bloodghasts. It's been game over for so long. Alright, the best I can do is just a Bloodghast from the hand. I mean, we're beating Dress Down, so I think we... Oh, we're not beating Dress Down. They Dress Down, they chump block the Archon, they go to 1. I mean, that'd be fine. The problem is there isn't enough silver bullets for the decks you're bad against. Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's definitely like part of Pioneer's problem in general. Not that that's necessarily something you need, though. Okay, they should be on artifact-based graveyard hate, so I think I'll bring in Needle, Stony Silence. And then I don't want any of these Bone Shards, so I think we're going to just play Thoughtseizes, trim Feign Death. Maybe just play 3 Thoughtseize, maybe trim an Unmarked Grave. Oh, we could definitely have a Priest of Fell Rites to the sideboard for the counterspell matchups. It's probably not that necessary, I guess. This build looks better to me. This build looks better. Priest of Fell Rites is better than Bearer Rites. I just... People say this all the time. Rites is 4 mana to flashback. It doesn't cost you life. Priest is 5 mana to flashback. It costs you 5. It's very hard to untap with Priest. I just don't agree. It's like the Priest has a higher ceiling and a much lower floor. You could be right, though. I just don't agree. All right. Our Citrus Supplier will surely mill over a... Archon. No! Okay, I'm just gonna get my Godless Shrine now so that I can't middle over all three here. Build over a Grief. Could persist a Grief. Oh, I could have also just gone to discard here. Maybe that was correct. Alright, let's just cast a Bloodghast. If my opponent ever taps out, I can maybe go Thoughtseize myself. Yeah, Go for the Throat should be playable in Pioneer. Yeah, Pioneer definitely got more tools than Modern did from the reprints being legal. So this is maybe like... Maybe I'll play some Pioneer and then have to deal with, is this what you're playing in Atlanta the entire stream? I don't know if they left in Blood Moons against me. I'm mono black, I have a lot of swamps. Maybe they did though. Lucy. Lucy, loopy, doopy, doopy, doopy doo. Dude, they love this Flash and Snapcaster play. Can't leak the sauce. Yeah, I shared the sauce with Doom. I think he likes it a little bit. Snapcaster's back, baby. Good in Modern, I declare. Okay, why run Void Mirror over Chalice in your black-red mid-range deck? I'm playing, well, Pop the Relic, play Tormod Script. Well, it's weird split. A lot of weird stuff. You play one Chalice, 2 Void Mirror, and you want to have you want the ability to have multiple lock pieces in play with that deck if you can. The Royal Scions? How am I ever beating the Royal Scions here? I don't know if that's a... I don't know if I can beat it. I'm kind of joking, kind of not. Yeah, those words have never been uttered. So you can have 2 Void Mirrors in the play at the same time. If you can go Chalice, Void Mirror, have both of those in play at the same time. You can never have 2 Chalices. And, you know, these decks play like a lot of bounce spells and stuff, so I think that like that ability to have redundancy is pretty nice. Okay. I think I cast Evoke the Grief here. Okay, if my opponent counters, for sure, and if they don't, I get to take the Archmage's Charm. They might just draw 2 in response, and then if they want to trade the Tormod's Crypt for the Undying, that's also okay with me. And then if they counterspell the Grief, I think I'll persist it. Like the way things are going, I'm just gonna have to trade persist for Tormod's Crypt at some point. And I have rights in my hand, so let's make that some point. This point. And then I think with the Borrower in my opponent's hand, like they are like unironically able to race me with the Snapcaster Mage, so I don't think I want to trade 1 damage for 2 damage in this spot. I would love to trade Supplier for Snapcaster, potentially Feign Death. Don't you want a black sack outlet of the Bone Shards? Yeah, Diabolic Intent. the whole thing, and Village Rights, like what the whole deck's like built around. Okay, so let me, I think, attack first. Discard outlet. I don't think you need another discard outlet. You can tutor up Bone Shards if you need it. In my opinion, and as someone who's played more Reanimator maybe than anybody else in Modern, more Reanimator variants, people when they build a deck, they play way too many discard outlets. You only have 4 Archons. You don't need that many discard outlets. So we go Feign Death here. They might steal the Supplier in response. Likely just better to not Feign Death the Supplier. And they're like we milled the second Bloodghast. That's actually great. And this just resolved too. So I could just get a land. Land doesn't seem that bad. I could get a Grief. Love to get Village Rights if I had a land or something like that. Get a fetch. Yeah, I think a fetch is better than a hive. I mean, they're blue-red control. Double blood gas is a nightmare against them. Do you run castle? I don't run castle. I had castle in like some of my drafts earlier, but I was thinking that I wanted like these more, and it was kind of hard. It was kind of hard to play swamps, and I thought that it would be very rare that I would ever like intent for a castle. Yeah, if I didn't have a hive, I'd get a hive, but yeah, we already have one. What did I get to stream God of War? You can just plug your PS5 into your PC with a USB cable, and there's an app that lets you do that. It's called like PS Share or something. You don't need to buy a capture card. I know when you Google stream PS5 to PC, they're like you need to buy a capture card, but you can do it with a USB cable, and worked very smoothly for me. The Xbox One is actually pretty cool. You can just like stream via Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's a big capture card, paying for ad space. Maybe, I don't know, maybe. Bloodghast is so freaking good. God of War was definitely very fun. I'm excited to play some more, although probably can't tonight or tomorrow, or like for I guess several days in the foreseeable future. I'll be unavailable too, but one day I'll get to play it again. Some God of War, maybe a little bit tonight. I have to record my channel Fireball video tonight. It's probably going to be with this deck. We'll see. And then Friday, I get to play my DM who we played a 3-year-long in-person camp. Well, in-person break for COVID, back in-person campaign. It moved away, is now back in town, and he's been gone. We've been doing online D&D for like 5 or 6 months now, like 5 months I think, and then we're finally doing an in-person session Friday. I'm so excited. I'm really excited. And then having brunch with some friends on Saturday, and I have a wedding to attend on Sunday. So we'll hopefully find some room for God of War in between all that. Any chance that Relic deck or something like is good? There's a chance, yeah. There's a chance. I heard Magic Worlds is going to be Tempest block constructed. Any ideas how the meta will shape up? I read my upcoming Channel Fireball article. Channel Fireball player article. Played any Planescape campaigns? No. So I say D&D. We switched after the 3-year-long campaign. We switched to Pathfinder, and I personally am not as big a fan of Pathfinder as D&D. Okay, I think we just let this happen, right? And then we just play Malak Rebirth as a land. If they want to respond with Tormod script, we can fetch. I'll get a Swamp because of Blood Moon. Yeah, I like 5e more than Pathfinder. I think Pathfinder has a lot of potential, but there's just a lot of it is just like wordy nonsense, math nonsense, and I feel like to some extent the game prides itself on being confusing and convoluted, and it just I feel like you could clean a lot of it up, but it's fine. I just different systems for different people, different tables. So yeah, 2nd edition Pathfinder. I wanted to try the Avatar The Last Airbender system, actually. I thought that looked kind of fun. Okay. Fine. You got a removal spell, though? They might. No, they don't. Awesome. A Hive and a Dream. Get God of War. I got God of War. We streamed it yesterday, I suppose. Okay. One more mana source, easy keep. Just gonna mulligan this to a very nice Unmarked Grave Persist hand. Yeah, I heard the Pathfinder 1 was really unbalanced. I heard the Pathfinder 1 was there's a lot of broken stuff in it, and so my understanding, impression, whatever, is that I think I'm supposed to grief on turn 1. My understanding is that they like overcompensated a little bit for Pathfinder 2e. So many brazen borrowers today. Just all of our opponents have borrower. Is no Dothi Voidwalker a meta call? I mean, it just doesn't like synergize well enough with the deck, I think. I mean, obviously it's okay with the scam package, but that's also like not like exactly what we're built around here, or doesn't like work with the Reanimator plan very much. You also have a lot of 2s already. You're playing 4 Bloodghast, 4 On My Grave, 4 Persist, 4 Diabolic Intent, and doesn't, to me, really feel like there's a lot of room for Voidwalker as like another 2. Okay, their hand is Channeler, Channeler, Lightning Bolt. So, you know, if their draws for turn, after we grief them, if their draws are Ragavan and a counterspell, good beats. Good beats. Guess I didn't need to play that, but they draw Ragavan and they draw counterspell. Tough stuff, which they did not do, which is the opposite of tough stuff. Hot take, maybe the best deck in Legacy should also be the best deck in Modern. Are you talking about Murktide? Because Murktide is not the best deck in Modern. I actually find this to like be a very common opinion from people who don't play a lot of Modern. Feeling that Murktide is in any way an oppressive deck, but it just like it's just mid. It's very mid. I would call Murktide very mid. So looks like they drew another Bolt. Don't tell Mingu. I mean, I'm not saying that it's a bad deck. It's just not the best deck in the format. It is a deck in the format. It is, you know, it is there. It's hanging out. They kept a card on top, so we're looking for a creature dissect to intent, persist. Okay, that's a creature dissect to intent. So just going to intent for a persist. No Bloodghasts. I would get Rights if I had 1 more mana. This is just stock dredge, or not actually stock dredge. Playing Haggle. I think you should be playing 4 of each of Reunion, Thrilling Discovery. Those are your best ones. I don't like Loam. I don't think Loam is correct to play. Okay, my opponent kept a card on top. They didn't cast anything. Which obviously means it's super likely they have counterspell of some kind. It could be a heat, potentially. I think I'm still supposed to jam. I'll pay for that one. Wow, the first time my opponent's had Spell Pierce and it hasn't ruined my day in a long time. Okay, well, go away, Graveyard, go away. I feel like it's the most consistent deck in the format. Yeah, it's very consistent, like having draws that like just don't line up well against, you know, Hammer Time and Blue White Control and Omnath and I don't know. It's Murktide is a deck that's very good against like the spell-based combo big mana decks and is, you know, has a lot of weaknesses beyond that. All right, they found a heat pretty fast. Why they keep Pierce on top? I don't know. I have to ask them, I guess. Because we keep this to discard to Bone Shards. Yeah, so you want to play Dark Blast over Life from the Loam. You need to play 4 Narcomoeba. You need to not play Merchant. You need to look at or not play Shriekhorn either to full 4 Dark Blast. I mean, just look at whatever Sodek has done last. I think Sodek's lists are usually very much on point. Thank you for the raid, Modest. Hope you're doing well today. Appreciate you. You can subscribe to Sodek's Patreon and then spend, you know, more money on this deck tech. Yeah, I don't see like a super recent dredge list, but I don't know. I mean, maybe someone in chat can provide stock dredge, but that I play stock dredge. The only innovation I think I have is like I think Stony Silence is a pretty good sideboard card in Dredge, giving you like answer like just 2 mana. Your opponent has no graveyard hate against you. Maybe I will fetch to Thin because I have a land in my hand for Bloodghast. Oh, too late. But like beyond that, I don't have like any cool tech, I guess. You don't. I don't think you need these Path Exiles actually, but how do I get the new cards? The reprints on Magic Online are currently legal. Nothing else from the new sets is legal. Dude, my opponent is. I guess okay. I guess this Murktide is only a 3/3. It's actually fine. Alright, I'll just get a Godless Shrine, and this is maybe a little undisciplined, because I think my life total probably matters a little bit more than thinning, but boy, do I not want to draw another land. Damn it. Okay. Go Hive Go. We are also in Hardcast Archon territory. 20 lands, by the way. What do you think is the best Omnath deck right now? I don't know. It's a good question. They all seem like largely like not that well positioned due to the prevalence of combo at the moment, and they all seem none of the versions to me have really felt like they jump out. Okay, so we can Archon if we draw Unmarked Grave, Unburial Rites, Persist, or Archon of Cruelty. This could potentially mill me over on Burial Rites or Bloodghast. No such luck. We do get to keep Hiving, however. And they're chump blocking with the Ledger Shredder. I think they might think this is a 3/2. Maybe they're just okay with that chump block. I'm not sure. It does take a turn off their clock to go down from 5 power to 4 power. Considers really good top deck for them, though. Rin, blue-white is the best Omnath deck. Well, the thing is... Yeah, that doesn't play Omnath, yeah. That's the thing, they don't really play Omnath. Yeah, Hive has been great today. You could go up to the Hive. Alright, we still have 1, 2, 3, 4... 5, 6, 7. I think we have 8 of our 28 cards. Let us put an Archon of Cruelty into play. Next, I'll Spire Bluff Canal. Attack for 3. Not attacking with a Shredder so they can block the Supplier. I'd be happy for them to block the Supplier, I guess. Happier to draw an Archon. Happy to draw that too. Their 1 card was Counterspell, but they found Canal instead of an untapped land. But it says Grr, I think they mean GG. Grr. Okay, we're going to bring in Stony Silence as an answer to their Graveyard Hate. Pithy Needle, I think, is also fine to bring in. Bone Charge is really good against them. We're going to keep those in the deck. I don't know if there's anything else I really want. I think I'm just going to be going down on... Cut the Feign Deaths again. Still figuring out sideboard plans. I think there's a good chance we should play 1 less Feign Death in the deck, and then like that's either going to be for another land. Someone suggested 1 main deck Thoughtseize. That would be fine. You could play 1 Priest. Probably not correct to play 1 Priest. You got cards. You got cards. Or there are cards, I should maybe say. Great round. That's what GUR stands for. Look at Lucy.
You want these apples?
Yes, I do want these apples.
Oh, look at This is a baby.
Sweet baby Lucy.
She's cuddling with the blanket.
Lucy loves Esther.
This is how she cuddles me.
Yeah. Okay, we can keep this on the draw. 2 Village Rites.
She loves me because I give her so much attention.
Mm-hmm.
Love and cuddles.
I just play Supplier here. I imagine they're lighter on burn spells post-board, but they probably have some. What's up? Don't think I'm ever just pitching this to try to find a burn spell. That's fine. Second Grief. You know, let me just cast Bloodghast, I think, so that I have something good to sack to these village rights and not trigger the connive. There's a lot of tahini on these apples. Is this deck good? I don't know. Seems interesting. Good enough, perhaps. Okay, so I think I really don't want them to just like counter my first village rights. I think I'm gonna go Grief. They counter the Grief. Petty Theft, Stitcher Supplier response. I guess village rightsing this is nice. I could potentially just Archon right here if I mill over an Archon and draw a land. But I could also draw a way to scam the Grief. I get to have them have no borrower. It does make me more fragile to Ragavan, but I think that's okay. I could even persist the Grief potentially. So okay, let's take a look at their hand. Unfortunately, the Archon was not milled; it was drawn, but not the end of the world. They have Counterspell, Invasive Surgery. Yeah, I think that against this like very specific hand, I'm just going to take the Counterspell, let the Grief die, persist the Grief, take the Invasive Surgery, and then I have, you know, 2 Bloodghast in play, racing their Ledger Shredder. I have Village Rights to draw a ton of cards, and I have the Grief to block the Ragavan. Cool turn. Village Rights has definitely felt so good in this deck. Although, of course, like any deck playing Diabolic Intent is going to be somewhat interested in Village Rights. They did leave in Blood Moon against me, so I've got my Swamp in play. Maybe this slows us down a little bit, but shouldn't be that big a deal. Okay, it's also a very interesting draw here. Kind of weird, but I'm actually going to go Diabolic Intent for a Basic Swamp. I think that makes sense. And then just sack a Bloodghast on their upkeeps before they can draw a Counterspell. For planes, yeah, no planes in the deck. So splashing white in the end, please don't ban me. Yeah, we realized that Unmarked Grave was like better than the Vessel, or the Archfiend's Vessel, where you can just Unmarked Grave for Bloodghast, and then you have creatures to sack to your Village Rights and your Intents. So with that being the case, then all of a sudden you do want to splash white instead for Rights. I think the basic swamp would be what I tutor. No, I didn't think I'd be tutoring too many basic swamps today. So they drew a Ragavan. That's okay, I guess. Oh. I don't know what they've drawn here that they want to trade Ragavan now. But I'm gonna cast. We'll find out. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why Ragavan all of a sudden is like wanting to attack there. Is Feed the Swarm too bad for Modern? Yeah, Feed the Swarm is too bad for Modern when it just doesn't cost you almost anything to splash a color and play a card that doesn't suck. You know what I mean? You could play it. You could play it on a budget if you don't want. If you just want to play mono black, Like, it's not the most embarrassing card you could register. It's also not the goodest card you could register. This deck seems legit good. Yeah, I mean, we've also been like running pretty well, but this version seems like we 4-1 the last league. We like dropped 2 leagues before that though, but this version seems like pretty improved. Although I've said this a lot, and this is like really important to note, when you play Reanimator, Reanimator is the hardest archetype in Modern to evaluate when you're playtesting. It is just so easy for you to just have it and crush your opponents. And it's also really easy for your opponent to either also have it and crush you or not have it and just fall apart, if that makes sense. So like it's very easy for like you to just run into opponents who have like, you have 3 opponents who have like super efficient draws against you and there's not much you can do. And it's also like really easy to run into opponents who aren't prepared. So like evaluating the deck after playtesting it is so difficult. It is in my opinion the hardest deck to find out like how good your build is, and like expanding on that too, like it's also like a deck that has so many viable builds. Like there's so many reasonable ways to build a Reanimator, you know what I mean? Yeah, I guess I don't want to necessarily sack the supplier because they're going to be at a 3 life, so that makes any 2 creatures lethal next turn. High variance, but it's also like you can build the best version of this deck, and then but just run into such a degree of variance that you don't know you have the best version, and you could also play a bad version and run super well and have opponents run bad and like think that you have a good version, but it's not as good. And so just like everything else, it takes time, but it just takes so much time. Things like Titan can be tricky. Yeah, I mean, you've got, it can be tricky. You have Necromantia post board against them, which is kind of nice, and your fast draws are really good against them. Okay, let's go Grief. Grief writes on turn 1 so that we can try to draw a second land. Yeah, Unmask is also really good. Faithless Looting. Murktide again, huh? We'll take the counter spell. Final land. Uh-oh. Convince. Uh-oh. This is my secret deck for Pioneer Mono Green. It could be. It's not, but it could be. But it might be, but it's also not. They didn't play Channeler. It's weird. No lands in top 3. Sad. Although we have been, we've been running pretty well. We'll take, a bad beat, I guess. And we are still doing really well if we draw a land. And we don't draw a land. Pass back. I feel like they drew Spell Pierce. They've literally kept 1 mana up this entire game. Hopefully I'm wrong. You have 2 heats, 2 mystery cards. Man, milled another Archon. 3 is a Murktides in a row. Is it 3 in a row? It's at least 2 in a row. What was round 1 of this league? I will say I'm 4-0 currently against Murktide with this deck, which is pretty exciting for any combo deck, any Reanimator deck, where feeling like you have a good Murktide matchup is important for the archetype. Oh, yeah, round 1 was Blue Moon. Yeah, round 1 was Blue Moon. Any opinions on Mishra's Research Desk? I don't remember that being a card on my list of cards I thought was playable. I always miss some cards. Or is research just the red Urza Saga target? Yes, that card is on my list actually. If that is the card. It's fine. I think most Urza Saga decks that play red will want it. But that's not like too many decks, you know what I mean? Holding heat to interrupt grief shenanigans. I think that's hopefully what's happening. Because I've missed too many land drops to not just slam persist here. Also, they also they do have unholy heat with number 2, which is a problem. Well, we're just gonna spell pierced every day, all day on this stream. That's what we do here. So I might just be dead because I take 8, I go down to 5. I persist Archon, I go up to 8. Yeah, I guess I'm not just dead. Then they heat, but they get to heat the Archon, so it'll be very tough to win. I could draw. And also, like, they've had so much selection, it's really difficult for them to just have nothing. Although a good sign of them having nothing is them cracking the Fiery Islet. I miss when these type of decks played Vengeful Pharaoh. Oh, I love Vengeful Pharaoh. Don't tempt me with the Vengeful Pharaoh. Yeah, so yeah, if they have nothing, I draw Grief, get the Unholy Heats. Okay, now I have 2 chances to draw Grief. Draw Swamp, Undying Effect. Well, I mean, just Grief is fine with me here. Just really need to find a land before turn 5. Our second land before turn 5. We had the Village Rites on turn 1. Okay, so they have exactly 8. I know they have an Unholy Heat in their hand. I will concede. Gonna bring in the Stony Silence again. Gonna bring in the Needle again. And go down to Feign Death again. Any good recommendations for LGS events I should look into? I don't know about any events happening at the moment, but my favorite LGS is Darkhound in Arlington. I also really like Common Ground Games in Dallas. Those would be my 2 favorite. Is Stony for Bauble? Stony stops all their graveyard hate, so Unlicensed Source, Relic of Virginitas stops all of it. Also stops Ragavan Treasures and Bauble, but that's more like fun, incidental. It is actually weird here to have both Needle and Stony Silence, where like Stony kind of covers all of the bases. So maybe I'll hold Needle to discard, and maybe they'll give me another Needle target. Yeah, Common Grounds is great. I like the owner a lot, and I've played many tournaments at Common Ground over the years, and I just have nothing but good things to say about them. Okay, so Ragavan is always a lot less scary when you have Stony Silence in play, at least. Do you think I'm going to get another Swamp, so turn 2 Blood Moon would not be as much of a problem. Now they cut Vessel. How good is Aghanim's Awakening? I think it still pitches to Grief. So the numbers of Aghanim's Awakening is kind of tough, but like I pitched it to Grief, and like it maybe is just correct to play as just a Grief pitcher. Because, like, not only can they not, like, sack the treasures, they can't cast any black spells that they flip with the Ragavan either. Okay, so I think drawing Diabolic Intent, I'm going to grab Bloodghast here. And I think I played this, so that I can play two mana spells next turn. Them considering in response to the Bloodghast trigger could mean that they have Surgical in their deck, but I've just also like not really constructed my sideboard in this matchup to play around Surgical, because Murktide almost never plays Surgical, so we can just like lose to that, I guess. Why to split a 2 Feign Death, 1 Undying Evil? Is there a reason not to split Feign Death and Malice? Yeah, because if you Diabolic Intent, you're almost always going to want to get Undying Evil instead, because that one's better, and it makes the thing untapped. So, like, I think with the Intents, it makes sense to have it as a tutor target. I take 3. Exile a card from my deck, I guess. Village Rights would have been a pretty good card. Not only ball to discard or something. I mean, they get to play it to discard and surveil. It depends on what their hand is, right? But it doesn't seem too bad. Oh, sorry. I was supposed to intent first. I haven't played Legacy in a really long time. Last Metroid. Not the best person to ask about that. Okay, Archon in the graveyard. Hope for the best. Yeah, I guess you split. I don't know. I refuse to answer more questions about the Feign Death and Malice, but I guess it's just like it just doesn't really matter. You need to Ode War with this. Doesn't matter much. I think you should play the first Undying Evil. You guys can do the rest of the split however you like. The cards are not in chest yet, no. Okay, so we are going to get to Persistent Archon. One of my favorite things to do. They also just like got off of Delirium as well, which is interesting. Yeah, your opponent's just like, they're not going to surgical your Feign Deaths. Okay, so we'll play both. We let them connive here, which is not ideal, obviously. But I think instead of just letting this Ledger Shredder, oh, they discarded Unholy Heat, so they definitely have another one, but they don't have Delirium right now. I think it's just better to unlock my hand. Like I could find more Bloodghast too. I guess should I needle Fiery Islet or should I needle Odawara? Odawara is definitely a card they could have here. I think I needle Odawara. Like needling the thing that's in play, like maybe makes more sense, but for some reason my Odawara senses are tingling, I guess. Is that the right Odawara? This has to be right. It's Odawara the Soaring City. Yeah, the problem is like they definitely have another Unholy Heat in their hand, right? That's the issue with this line, and so like there's a good chance that Fiery Islet digs them for Delirium. They put Flusterstorm into the yard. Then they Unholy Heat, Connive. Potentially Connive a Delirium into the yard. Yeah. Damn it. Put me to 1 with the attack, so I need to top deck another reanimation spell. We were playing the Arch. We ended up cutting the Archfiend's Vessel for Embarrow, right? So I think that ended up being better because you can just Rights for Bloodghast. Okay, we have 2 lands, Markgrave, Persist into play. We're splashing white for 3 sideboard cards. Also the Unburial Rights in the main deck, but I think those are important sideboard cards to splash for, as Black has no good ways to deal with enchantments, and I'd rather splash good cards. Come on! Okay, now I want to go 5 for 5. Now I want to go 5 for 5 against Murktide if I can. Draven, 15 months? Or against Blue-Red. If I'm going to go 4 for 4, going 5 for 5 is fun. Oh, it's okay. It's not Murktide. Another Izzet deck, though, of course. A land, I do get to Archon with a land because I have the Bone Shards here. Never lucky. So my opponent is playing Temur, Spell Pierce, Wrenn and 6, so likely Breach, Temur Breach. I didn't think they were main decking Spell Pierce though, so it could be like Goofy Temur Brew. Alright, against Goofy Temur Brew, I will cast Persist. I guess they could like double Burn Spell in response, so I'll hold up the Feign Death. Rhinos? I think it's probably not. Oh, it's Creativity. Sorry, it's obviously Creativity. It's not Rhinos though. It's definitely not Rhinos. Yeah, sorry. Obviously Creativity. I don't know what I'm thinking. So they have second Spell Pierce. We get to, continue to always summon Spell Pierce to my opponent's hand. Yeah, but it did look like Prismari command. They could find a Spell Pierce off the command, I guess, and cast that. Yeah, so definitely creativity. I don't know why, like, Steamvin Stomping Ground just doesn't scream creativity to me, but it obviously should. The Scalding turn 2. And what's cool about this is if they can only creativity for one next turn, if they do that, I just get to, like, Feign Death my Archon. I do have a lot of good sideboard cards in the matchup, too. Actual Uno reverse card. Oh, they targeted the treasure instead of the dwarf for some reason. I guess to have more Archon fodder, but that's not actually, like, gonna be how that works. It's both gonna die. It's like game 1 Orvar. And this is a +1 counter on it, so they're actually just dead on board. Awesome. So I'm not used to Archon having a +1 counter. Very used to having it a -1 counter. I'm gonna bring in the Surgical, the Orvar, the Necromentia. I'm going to cut probably all of my Bone Shards. I guess I can play one as a tutor target so I can discard Archon from hand is correct. And then, yeah, this seems fine. I could bring in Thoughtseize. I think I have enough sideboard cards already. They should have targeted my Archon too. Yeah. Wondering if I saw your comment about Cabal. Is Cabal the 3-mana 2/3 opponent casts a non-creature spell, drain for 2? I don't know what the comment is, but with this deck, Cabal gives you another Ingo Tech if they have Rest in Peace and such. Decks that have Rest in Pieces and such have plenty of answers to 3-mana 2/3s. But it's also like, I don't know, Cabal doesn't also feel very unique to me as a 3-mana threat. The Modern is a format full of generic 3-mana threats, and Cabal feels like it would probably be like, like the 10th best option. I think it's good against the Modern meta. That's fine. We can, agree to disagree. This is just my own opinion based on my thoughts and experiences. Let's keep this. They do discard Archon pretty aggressively with their Fables and Prismari commands. Wow, so drawing 2 sideboard cards, huh? Lucky me. Ping, got plus. Maybe I'm supposed to get a white source for Margrave. Do you think I'm supposed to be able to, like, Margrave here and kind of set up for the combo if I draw Persist ever? Gifted sub seems to be down for some reason. Yeah, I feel like everything on the internet's been, like, a little janky the last couple days. I don't know. How's Diabolic Tutor? I've been liking it. It's fine. We 4-1 the last league. We're 2-1 up a game here. This version is also better than what we started with, and that's pretty exciting. So, stuff to be looking forward to here. So, kind of one weird thing, I guess, is if my opponent does. I guess I just let the creativity resolve and surgical creativity. Like, I guess I'm just thinking if they like discard Archon and then they creativity if I ever surgical, but the answer is just, a resounding no. Happy to find a Bloodghast here. Always love when this card turns into 1 mana, 1/1/2/1. Do you find I enjoy Magic off-stream less since I do it for my job? It's a different kind of enjoyment, you know what I mean? It's like, for me, Magic is like an incredibly rewarding way to share my ideas and like build something and share what I've built with people, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like to me, it's incredibly rewarding to work on something, refine it, and share it with you guys. It's, but it's a very different kind of rewarding than just, very casually playing Magic off stream. New Warp Coil gonna see play in Modern? Maybe as a Karn target and Karn decks that have a lot of colors. Can I honor system a deck that gives up? Well, it's hard for me to keep track, Wolf. I'll be here tomorrow. You know, there's no rush. Okay, so let's grief. Get veiled, maybe. Yeah. Getting veiled. Okay, I think I'm just gonna persist the Archon, and if they have, you know, Veil of Summer, Spell Pierce, Barf, but I kind of want to try to force them to creativity, and you know, with this extra creature in play, I'm feeling okay. Remember that Veil of Summer does stop the Archon triggers here. If they can creativity for 3 here, that's going to be not so good. Although my opponent could loot away an Archon of Cruelty, which they don't do. They did have Veil. I mean, they already cast the Veil. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm just saying for chat that the Veil is retroactively countering all the Archon stuff. Because that wasn't clear. So they're pinging this, so I have less things to sack. They can, I think, only creativity X equals 2. Maybe surgical veils or Orvar's unbeatable. I think it's probably better to be able to surgical their Archons. It's not. I don't hate the line. Oh no, they can creativity X equals. No, only 2. Only 2. Okay. So presume are they gonna? They're not gonna unmoored ego Orvar, are they? Blood gas. Okay. It's 2 blood gas out of the yard. Now they know about the Orvar. Makes things weird. I might take the surgical Veil of Summer line now. It really feels like that's their plan. This is also like a super satisfying thing to do.
What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike.
Yeah, take matters into my own hands. So they have 1 more in the library. Their hand is 2 more Rins, a Triumph, a Seiju, Dwarven Mine. Pretty bad hand. They have 4 Spell Pierce. They have 2 Turn to Earth. 1 is a Charm. Says Blue White Vid from YouTube. Mr. Combe, you're looking for alt win cons. Orb 2 Stitchers. It's not as great as Oracle Rights. Can use Memory's Journey. Unexpected results. Necrotic Ooze. Yeah, it's just too many cards. I was only really looking for win conditions that like win the game immediately for less mana than rights on than rights on Oracle. You know what I mean? all the Memory's Journey stuff also requires you to like, you know, draw another card, which costs you a lot. Okay, I think I'm just gonna put a yeah, I want to keep Undying Evil in my hand in case they creativity. So I think I will just put a Unbarrier Rights in the yard here. Yeah. There is a one. Yeah, I looked too. I could have. I mean, there is 4 Arc-Leg Phoenix, 4 Lava Dart, 4 Creeping Chill, or 3 Lava Dart, 4 Creeping Chill. But that's just too many slots. Was curious if you could copy your own Archon. Yeah, you can copy any permanent in play. Only if your opponent makes you discard it. This game appears to be unlosable. Your hand literally beats 4 Archons. That's like definitely the impression I'm under, but it is also like very true. Chad is very willing to go, Spike, you can't lose, and that, you know, summons crazy draws to your opponent's hands. Okay, weird hand where... Okay, we're up against Gigantha. If I scam them on turn 1, I don't have another land. That being said, I think I'm probably supposed to do it still. We pitch the Bloodghast. Doing deck techs today. I've done so many deck techs the last 2 Magic streams. I'm always doing them, but I think starting tomorrow the price is going up. It's been a bit much. Obviously, this hand needs to draw land now, but let's simply draw land, huh? I think I'm just gonna take their 1 and 2 drop here, and then if they Teferi bounce, maybe we just attack with the supplier. I don't know if we need to be super duper afraid of Teferi. I guess Teferi is pretty good against Archon potentially, but they'll probably minus it the turn they play it. All right, tap Zagath. What's the temperature on a 10? Heard yesterday was pretty garbo in the format. I mean, still trying to figure it out, but you can't really say how good or bad a card is after 1 day of playtesting it, especially with a card like Diabolic Intent, which is very difficult to build around. You know what I mean? Well, I guess you could say that if you want, likes on a website. But yeah, my general opinion is that you cannot tell how good or bad a card is after 1 day of testing. But I have 4-1-2 leagues now with it. We're playing for 4-1 again. My opinion at the moment is that it's at least better than Garbo. You can't, I can, built different. Fair enough. Can't argue with that. Dingo's already saying the card's super unplayable modern. I love Dingo. I love Dingo a lot. It is very hard to be right about everything in card evaluations all the time. I will say I saw Dingo's list with Intent yesterday. I thought it had some deck building issues with Intent. I think Dingo's great. I think Dingo's a good deck builder, but I think that he kind of or at least I have different opinions on the deck building restrictions of Intent. So I guess I can take a look at the list to maybe a bit more detailed what I'm talking about. And obviously, to some extent, you got to make some content. You're throwing it together, but here I think so you have Bloodghast, which is good with Intent, Seasoned Pyromancer, which is okay, and so. This deck has 12 good ways to turn on Intent, 4 Unmarked Grave, 4 Bloodghast, and the Stitcher Supplier. This deck has 4 good ways, 3 okay ways. So playing 4 Intents, you're going to have this be dead too often in your hand, too often. Also, in Jund Coco, I think that Unearth is usually a better way to abuse these cards, Seasoned Pyromancer, Mayhem Devil, Grist, than Diabolic Intent is. This is a really good... so tutors are supposed to provide redundancy for combo, right? I can't remember who it was. They put it so well. Tutors provide redundancy for combo. That is the role for the tutors. In this deck, Unearth also provides redundancy for your synergies. Rebuying Seasoned Pyromancer, Unearth, Mayhem Devil, Grist for 1 mana, because you're going to draw 1 of these, right? And then you get to Unearth it for 1, instead of tutoring up a different piece for 3 mana. Obviously, you can find Bombardment and Coco and stuff, but it's just not doing it as well, in my opinion. Definitely not the full 4. You can play 1 or 2 Intents in a deck like this, but you can't play 4. And it's also true, Yawgmoth doesn't strike me as a good silver bullet in this deck, in a deck with Collected Company. I just felt like the deck was this is not a good Intent deck. And that's fine. It's fine. It's it's very hard to build decks for day 1, and you got to try some stuff. I always encourage trying stuff, but I'm not surprised to hear Dingo either say that he thought the deck was unplayable after playing some with it. Yeah, David. It was David something. It was such a good way to phrase it. It's yes, you get redundancy with your tutors there, but it's worse redundancy than your Unearths and stuff. You lie, there's a white source. It's mostly mono black, huh? It's been going pretty well. We 4-1 the last league. I 4-1 off stream last night. We had a couple drops this morning, but I think our version was slightly worse. What Intent and Dredge? I don't think Intent makes much sense in Dredge, where you have 4 of the like you have 4 insane enablers in that deck, or 8 insane enablers. The 2 cathartic reunion effects. Both of those are going to be much more powerful than Intent. It's actually a pretty good draw here. So if they bounce the Archon, I can Bone Shards, kill Kavu, and have another Persist in my hand. And like in this deck, you know, like Intent is giving you redundancy for Persist combo, which is something like you're super interested in. Like I've played Infernal Tutor to get that redundancy before, and Infernal Tutor is pretty good on turn 2, right? But the issue with Infernal Tutor, it's not Infernal Tutor. Infernal Tutor is the Hellbent one. Profane Tutor. The problem with Profane Tutor, they get to exile my Archon. Oh, they don't exile the Archon, dude. Whoa. They just don't exile Archon. That is the greediest shit I've ever seen. They just didn't. Like, Intent is a good top deck, which, like, you want your tutors to be good top decks, right? Because you're spending mana to not impact the board. So you want your tutors to be good top decks. And with Intent not being, with Tutor being a bad top deck, that was always, like, the biggest issue, I think. And Intent is, like, something you're, like, itching to draw. Like, you're like, if I draw Intent or Persist, I get an Archon. If I draw Intent or Persist, I get an Archon. And you compare that to other Reanimator versions that just don't have as much of that kind of stuff. I forgot I can exile. It's funny. Yeah, Mana Traders gave me 4 different arts today. I'm definitely not gonna block. Alright, so let's see if they have binding. They probably would have main phased it though. Thank you, Marv. Okay, so against Domain Zoo, I do think they're pretty often going to have Rest in Peace, and they also do play Leyline Binding. So get to bring in our Leave No Trace tech, which if you target Rest in Peace or Binding, it kills all the white enchantments. Very good suggestion. I was going to play a 3 mana Destroy All Enchantments, and someone, I can't remember whose, with all the good tech today, there's been a lot of good tech today, I can't remember whose this was. I really wish I could, like, I've wanted to be able to tag chatters for a long time. Like, just like someone suggests a card and it makes it to the deck. I want to be able to tag them with that suggestion, but that is not currently a Twitch feature. The list needs Unearth. Okay, so we'll get Unearth in there. ETB, each player sacrifices a creature, Planeswalker. This effect has existed in Modern for a long time. I don't think it's an effect that is very good in Modern. I wouldn't be very interested in playing it. Additionally, so I've thought about a little bit about playing like Scam Obosh, what you're doing here. Okay, we can keep this. Scam Obosh, what you're doing here. And for the most part, I think that the deck either needs to be Mardu or it needs to be Boros, so that you can play Solitude Fury and have 8 evoke creatures while also maintaining your Obosh restriction. I don't think that you want to do this and play black and just not play Grief in your Undying Evil Malika Rebirth deck. If you're playing Undying Evil Malika Rebirth, you really want to be able to play Grief. But if you're Mardu, you can play Fury, Solitude, and or Boros just with Ephemerate potentially would be good enough as well. I guess we just want to get both Kavu since they are, in fact, Graveyard Hate here. And pass back. I also think that this is, like, Obosh is not worth losing Grief to in this archetype. I would also say that, yes, you can play on Earth alongside these cards. Demon's Disciple is not a playable Modern card, however. You can't play that one. Okay, so do I block here and trade? I think trading is fine. I think I'm going to be playing this one a little bit slower. Yeah, I feel like I would probably want in this version or like, you know, in Boros or Mardu. I would prefer to have Blood Moon in the main deck instead of these Fulminator Mages, even with the Unearth plan. Guess we can do the tag with the commands. It's tough. You could. It would be not super clean, you know. I was having issues finding good cards that work with Scam and Black Red with Obosh. Yeah, I mean that was also, yeah. So again, you have to play white, I think, and you have to play Ephemerate, and you can play Mardu or Boros, and I've also thought a little bit about this. Obviously, if we're talking about talking like this, and I'm certainly like not sure what the best method is. You know what I mean? I've also tried to crack the code. Have not been able to crack the code, but this version is not it. Okay, so 3 copies down. Really have to get that card because of the graveyard hate aspect. We have Leave No Trace chilling in the hand. Maybe they'll draw a binding, but it's certainly not doing a lot. It would just have been a Feign Death though, so I guess not the most impactful. Hatashi 20 months. Why is intent in caps? Clickbait, my friend. Clickbait. Okay, we'll keep the persist in our hand, so either intent or Unmarked Grave is going to be able to let us Archon. Yeah, so I don't know. I like it's tough for me to offer more feedback because I've sat down to build this too, and that's as far as I've gotten. I don't think I have more feedback, but that's the direction you have to go. You can't stay red black if you're gonna do Mardu Scam, and like I think for that deck too. If only we could Leave No Trace both of these. For that deck too, it's definitely gonna be one that you just like. You need to be comfortable failing with it. You need to be comfortable accepting that it's just not there if it's not there, Yeah, so Leave No Trace kills all bindings and Rest in Peace in play when you cast it. And so in this matchup it gets all bindings, but it also of course I think that Domain Zoo is a deck that plays Rest in Peace pretty often. And obviously, it did not line up very well against my opponent's draw this game. I'm going to leave it in the hand in the deck for game 3, though, and hope for the best. Yeah, ley lines, too. It kills all the black ley lines. I think it's pretty good tech. I like it. We also just draw an Unmarked Grave here. Think Scion is good in Legacy since Meltdown is the artifact hate card. I mean, I don't think Scion's not very good in Legacy, I would imagine, because Legacy is not a format that you really are rewarded for playing Triomes or getting Domain in because of Wasteland. Oh, this has First Strike? Dang it. I think I'm still blocking. Dang, what a combo. As if Ragavan needed to be any better. Okay, so if I Archon, I go up to 7, block here. Go to 1. Yeah, Unmarked Grave's still an out. Not an out that I've drawn game 3. This is our Gitaxian Puppeteer. What does that card do? If it's a new card, we don't have access to the new cards. That we only have access to intent. I see that this card is 4 mana. For Phyrexian Warlock, whenever you draw your second card each turn, each opponent loses 2 life, gains 2 life. When it dies, return another card. And if you have this favorite battlefield. Yeah, the card is just like, worse than Unearth probably. Yeah, we cut the vessels. The vessels are really cool, but someone in chat very wisely pointed out that it was likely just better to Unmarked Grave for rights or for Bloodghast if you need like creatures to sacrifice to rights and intend. Which I think is true. The Bloodghast are really, really good, and it's like basically the same as casting a Bloodghast or almost. So if I draw my 4th land, it's going to be pretty tempting to... Drawing that too is pretty tempting to not Unmarked Grave. I think I should. I think that my opponent is like... My opponent is so likely to just like tap out for a 2-mana creature, and I just persist, and I'm super ahead. If they do Rest in Peace, I can potentially Diabolic Intent for the Disenchantment effect and find an answer for that. I love that my opponent's not slamming Rest in Peace. I love that I can pay for Stubborn Denial next turn. I hope this is not the dreaded tank Rest in Peace, although you do have to think about what you're fetching with Domain Zoo. The intent's not good without the Bloodghast. I think I'll pitch it. I want to do this so that if my opponent has endurance or force, I get to potentially play around that. I think I'm taking the lightning bolt here so that my opponent can't draw a second lightning bolt to get the job done. And don't need to evoke the Griefer or something else in that hand. Oh yeah, Giganta, sure. I guess I didn't need to play around any of that, huh? It's so easy to like not Giganta check your opponent, but yeah. Ah, surgical is the one we were playing around. Okay, we get to kill their cattle, put them to some low life total. And then they're hoping, I guess, to draw Tribal Flames or Leyline Binding. Then they can maybe remember that they can exile this time. Although now, the ability to hardcast Grief should just end this game. Oh no, they go to 4. They go to 4. I thought they were going to 3. Tonja, Deck Tech, post link in chat. I can take a look. Although the Bloodghast has haste next turn, so yeah, if they have to leave, they have to draw exactly Tribal Flames. Or sorry, not Tribal Flames. Leyline Binding, binding the Archon. I can't persist the Archon again because it's not Tribal Flames. And then leave this back to block the Bloodghast. So very unlikely that they would be able to win from here. Prototypes, baby. Prototypes and Pioneer. Okay, hold on. 4-1 this league. Back-to-back 4-1s. 4-1 off stream. Dropped, I think, 2 leagues this morning. It might have been 3, actually. This version definitely felt better. It felt a bit smoother. Obviously, you know, with these results, too, it's very clear, like, you know, this is a high variance deck. Reanimator always is. Hard to evaluate. Intent did feel legitimately good here. It felt like a really nice direction to go. It's also true that with Blood Moon being so popular, I don't like to play the Aether Mage's Touch version of Reanimator that I used to like. And it's like, and this version is much better against Blood Moon, which is something that's pretty exciting. Obviously, lots of different directions and paths to go on, but something I'm excited to continue to explore. I think that you have way too many prototype creatures. I would be on like 4 Assembler, 4 Combat Thresher, 4 Steel Seraph. Not